In a previous video, I discussed conversational quality. Well, the most important thing about establishing conversational quality in a speech is making direct and consistent eye contact with your audience. If you read your speech to the audience, it's impossible to make direct and consistent eye contact with them. So, conversational quality hinges on your use of eye contact. Take a look at these two clips of Sarah and Roy reading their speeches side by side. Sarah and Roy won't be able to hold attention because they won't be able to make eye contact with their audience. Because an audience will rarely speak during your speech and give you verbal feedback, eye contact and looking at your audience is the main channel that you receive feedback from your audience. So if your audience is bored or excited about your speech, or even if they're confused and they need some more explanation of a particular point, eye contact is the only way you'll be able to find out if that's the case. Besides reading, there can be two other instances where we have poor eye contact. The first, as you see on the left with Roy, is that he's distracted or he's so unprepared to give his speech that he needs to focus his mental energy on remembering the speech instead of making direct eye contact with the audience. On the right, Roy is focused too much on his visual aid. He even turns to the side so you can't even see both of his eyes when he's speaking. If you can't see his eyes, he can't see you. Of course, it's fine to look at your visual aid for a few seconds, and it's fine to look somewhere else other than right into your audience's eyes for brief periods of time. But like with every other facet of delivery, if you do too much of it, it becomes noticeable. 99% of your time with your eyes during your speech should be looking at the individual audience members. Here's another tip for making good eye contact with your audience, and you may not have thought about this if you don't speak to an audience frequently. Oftentimes, speakers will look at their audience in an inverted T shape. That means that they'll spend most of their time making eye contact with the people in the front row of the audience and people right down the middle. This is understandable. They're the people closest to the speaker and the people who are most at the center of attention to the speaker. But you should strive to include everyone in your eye contact. If you find yourself looking too much at the front row and too much down the middle, make a conscious effort in practice and in future speeches to include the people in the back two quadrants of the audience. You may have heard the advice to look just above the audience's head or at the back wall of the room when presenting a speech for eye contact. Both of these pieces of advice are terrible. You should make direct and consistent eye contact with every member of your audience. Depending on the size of your audience, this means that you should probably engage each member of the audience with eye contact from about 3 to 5 or 6 seconds apiece. And you should move your head around the room as you go along. So I might focus on someone over here for 3 to 5 seconds while I'm talking, and then shift a little bit, a couple people over here, and then move my way across the room. You want to try to avoid doing this in a robotic fashion. Our textbook says, imagine that you're a camera on a tripod and pan the room. That's true, but you don't want to make it so that it's mechanical. Jump around a little bit, front to back, side to side, going along to each person as if you were having a conversation with them in a small group, but you're just spreading that out a bit more. Let's review the basics of eye contact. Number 1, never read your speech. Reading harms every bit of your delivery, and especially eye contact. There's absolutely no way to read and make eye contact at the same time. Number 2, be sure to include everyone in your audience in your eye contact. Speakers tend to focus on the front and the middle of the room. Make sure that you consciously include people in the back and on the sides of the room. And number 3, always maintain consistent and direct eye contact. Of course, it's okay to look elsewhere for a few seconds, but 99% of your speech should be making direct eye contact with each member of your audience.